The sun hangs low over Bridgewater, a molten gold coin bleeding across the horizon. It paints the asphalt of Highway 17 in strokes of orange and violet. For Marcus Thorne, this is the golden hour. He feels it in the deep, resonant rumble of the 396 cubic inch engine beneath the hood of his 1969 Chevrolet Chevelle SS. The car is his sanctuary, a rolling piece of American history he painstakingly restored with his own hands. Every bolt torqued to specification. Every wire tucked and hidden. The paint, a fathomless coat of tuxedo black, mirrors the dying sky with perfect clarity. In the passenger seat, his wife, Sarah, hums along to a song on the radio, her hand resting gently on his. In the back, their 7-year-old daughter, Maya, is a silent observer of the world blurring past, her treasured stuffed bear, Captain Cuddles, clutched tight in her small arms. This is peace. A perfect Sunday afternoon bleeding into a perfect evening. Then, the peace is shattered by a predator's cry. The piercing shriek of a police siren cuts through the air, followed by the garish pulse of red and blue lights flashing in his rearview mirror. Marcus's body tenses. It is an old reflex, honed in places far more dangerous than this quiet stretch of highway. He breathes out, slow and controlled. He checks his speed. 64 in a 65 zone. His hands are at 10 and 2. His seatbelt is on. Sarah's hand tightens on his. "What's this about?" she whispers, her voice laced with an anxiety he knows all too well. "I don't know," Marcus says, his own voice a low, steady calm. "Probably a broken taillight." "Don't worry." He signals, smoothly guiding the Chevelle onto the gravel shoulder of the road. The engine idles with a throaty purr as he puts the car in park. He kills the radio. The silence that follows is thick with unspoken tension. In the rearview mirror, the police cruiser looms, a predator that has cornered its prey. The spotlight flicks on, a blinding white eye that pins them in its glare, bleaching the color from the inside of the car. Marcus watches the silhouette of an officer detach from the driver's side. The man is built like a refrigerator, a solid block of muscle and resentment crammed into a tight blue uniform. He moves with a deliberate, heavy-footed swagger, one hand resting on the butt of his holstered sidearm. This is not a man coming to write a ticket for a broken taillight. This is a man coming to war. Marcus turns to his wife. "Sarah, roll down your window." Both hands on the dash. "Maya, sweetie, you just stay quiet and hug Captain Cuddles for me, okay?" His daughter nods, her eyes wide and fearful in the strobing lights. The officer is at the passenger window now, his face obscured by the glare of the spotlight and a pair of reflective sunglasses that mirror Sarah's terrified expression back at her. The man is a void. He doesn't speak. He just looks. His eyes rove over the car, the custom leather interior, the pristine dashboard. Then they land on Marcus. They linger. There is a sneer playing at the corner of his lips, a subtle, ugly twist of his mouth. "Well, well, well," the officer says, his voice a gravelly rumble that seems to vibrate with condescension. "What do we have here?" The question hangs in the air, not expecting an answer. It is an accusation. Marcus keeps his hands visible on the steering wheel. "Good evening, officer. Is there a problem?" The cop ignores him, his attention drawn to the rear of the car. He walks back, his boots crunching on the gravel. Marcus hears a sharp rap of knuckles on metal. The officer is tapping his license plate. He leans down, then lets out a short, sharp bark of a laugh. It is a sound devoid of humor. He saunters back to the window, a genuine, mocking smile now plastered on his face. "License and registration," he barks, the words clipped and dismissive. Marcus leans over slowly, retrieving the documents from the glove compartment. He hands them out the window to the officer. The cop, whose name tag reads Miller, snatches them from his hand. He gives them a cursory glance before his eyes fix on Marcus again. "You know," Miller says, leaning down and invading their space, "I see a lot of things on this highway. A lot of characters. But this one is a classic. He taps the roof of the Chevelle with his thick fingers. This is a mighty fine car for a. He pauses, letting the silence stretch. For a guy like you. Must have set you back a pretty penny. Marcus says nothing. He knows this game. Every word is a test, a lure to pull him into an argument he cannot win. His silence seems to infuriate Miller. The officer straightens up, his posture swelling with indignation. But the car isn't even the best part, Miller continues, his voice rising. The best part is that little piece of tin you've got screwed to the back. He gestures with his thumb toward the rear of the vehicle. Your license plate. You really think you can get away with that? Sarah finally finds her voice. Officer, I don't understand. It's a state-issued plate. Miller lets out another bark of laughter, this one louder, more performative. Oh, it's state-issued, all right. That's what makes it so damn funny. Some clerk at the DMV probably didn't know any better. He leans back in, his face inches from Sarah's. Your husband here is driving around with a Medal of Honor license plate. The United States military's highest award for valor. An honor reserved for the greatest heroes this nation has ever produced. He turns his head, his mirrored sunglasses fixing on Marcus. And you are not one of them. The words are delivered like a verdict. Final. Absolute. Officer, Marcus begins, his voice still dangerously calm. That plate was issued to me by the Department of Veterans Affairs. It is entirely legal. Miller scoffs, a wet, derisive sound. Oh, I'm sure it is. I'm sure you found some loophole. Or maybe you just bought it off the internet. It's called stolen valor, pal. It's a federal crime. And it makes me sick. He thumps the roof of the car again, harder this time, making Maya jump in the back seat. The real heroes who earned that medal are turning in their graves, knowing a guy like you is using their sacrifice to get out of speeding tickets. I wasn't speeding, Marcus states, the words flat and cold. Doesn't matter. Miller roars, his composure finally cracking. You're committing fraud right now. You're disgracing every man and woman who ever wore a uniform. Miller's face is flushed, a deep, angry red. He is a man carved from granite and prejudice. He sees a black man in a classic muscle car, a car he himself probably covets, and his mind can only process the image in one way, criminal. The license plate is not a symbol of honor to him. It is an impossible contradiction, an affront to his entire worldview. You think you're special? Miller sneers, his voice dripping with venom. You think that little piece of metal makes you better than me? From the back seat, a small, choked sob escapes Maya's lips. The sound cuts through the tension like a razor blade. Marcus's entire demeanor shifts. The calculated calm evaporates, replaced by a cold, protective stillness. The temperature in the car seems to drop 20 degrees. You're scaring my daughter, Marcus says, his voice dropping to a low, lethal whisper. You need to lower your voice. Now. Miller glances into the back seat, sees the crying child, and a cruel, triumphant smirk spreads across his face. He has found the weak spot. He has drawn blood. Oh, is the little girl scared? He coos in a mocking tone. Maybe Daddy shouldn't be driving around pretending to be a war hero. Maybe Daddy should have thought about his family before he decided to break the law. This is the line. The point of no return. Marcus feels a switch flip deep inside him. It is a switch he has not had to use in years, a switch that connects him to a part of himself he keeps locked away. The part that survived the arid mountains of Afghanistan and the sweltering jungles of places that do not appear on public maps. The part that knows how to dismantle a man, piece by piece, without laying a finger on him. Officer Miller, Marcus says, his voice now devoid of all emotion. It is as flat and hard as a slab of polished obsidian. You have made a grave miscalculation. Miller laughs again, emboldened by what he perceives as an empty threat. A miscalculation? Buddy, you're the one who's about to have his car impounded and spend the night in a cell for impersonating a military hero. I'm just getting started. He pulls out his radio. Dispatch, this is 3 Adam 14. I've got a situation on Highway 17, southbound. Possible stolen Vela suspect, becoming agitated. Requesting backup. He says it loud enough for everyone in the car to hear, a performance of dominance. Sarah gasps. Marcus, what are we going to do? Nothing, Marcus says, his eyes locked on Miller. We are going to do nothing. Because this man is about to do it all for us. Miller's partner, a younger, nervous-looking officer named Davis, finally gets out of the cruiser. He approaches cautiously, staying behind Miller, a silent and complicit shadow. Everything okay, Mike? Davis asks, his voice uncertain. Everything's perfect, Miller grunts, not taking his eyes off Marcus. Just teaching this punk a lesson about respect. He turns his attention back to Marcus. So, where'd you get your fake medal? A flea market? Did it come in a box of Cracker Jack? Marcus doesn't answer. He is listening. Not to Miller's taunts, but to something else. A faint sound, far in the distance, growing steadily louder. It is a rhythmic, percussive noise. Whump 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 whump. The sound of heavy helicopter blades beating the air into submission. Miller hears it too, and a flicker of confusion crosses his face. He glances up at the twilight sky. What the hell is that? The sound grows, a deep, guttural thrum that seems to make the ground vibrate. Over the crest of the hill behind them, 2 shapes appear. 2 Apache attack helicopters, flying low and fast, their dark silhouettes like birds of prey against the bruised purple sky. They are not on a routine flight path. They are following the highway. They are an escort. Miller stares, dumbfounded. Military exercise, I guess, he mutters, trying to regain his footing. But then another sound joins the helicopters. Sirens. Dozens of them. But these are not the simple yelps of local police. These are the deep, resonant whoops of federal vehicles, a symphony of authority. Over the hill they come. First, 2 state trooper motorcycles, their lights blazing. Behind them, a phalanx of black Chevrolet Suburbans, their windows tinted to an impenetrable black, flags mounted on their front fenders snapping in the wind. The motorcade moves with a terrifying, unified purpose. It does not slow down. It barrels down the highway, commanding the entire road. Miller and his partner are frozen, 2 statues of disbelief on the side of the road. The backup Miller called for, a single, lonely cruiser, arrives and is immediately dwarfed, forced to the shoulder by the sheer momentum of the approaching procession. The lead Suburban pulls up directly behind Miller's cruiser and stops, blocking him in. The other vehicles in the motorcade form a perfect, semicircular perimeter around the scene, their headlights turning the gravel shoulder into a stage. The helicopters have stopped their forward progress. Now they hover, 2 angry metal insects, their spotlights snapping on and bathing the entire scene in a light brighter than the sun. The doors of the Suburban swing open in unison. Men pour out. They are not police officers. They are soldiers. They are dressed in tactical gear, armed with rifles held at a low ready, their movements economical and precise. They form a cordon, their faces grim and impassive, their bodies creating a wall between the world and this small stretch of highway. Officer Miller's jaw is slack. His face, moments ago flushed with arrogant rage, is now a pale, chalky white. He looks from the soldiers to the helicopters to the man sitting calmly in the driver's seat of the Chevelle. The rear passenger door of the lead Suburban opens. A man steps out. He is tall and ramrod straight, in his late 60s but possessing an energy that makes him seem ageless. He wears the immaculate dress uniform of a 4-star general of the United States Army. His chest is a constellation of ribbons, a testament to a lifetime of service and sacrifice. His face is weathered, etched with the lines of command, and his eyes are the color of cold steel. He surveys the scene with a quick, all-encompassing glance. His gaze sweeps over the soldiers, the cruisers, and finally settles on Officer Miller. The general begins to walk toward him. He moves with an unhurried, implacable gait. Each step on the gravel is a drumbeat of impending doom. Miller seems to shrink with every step the general takes. The blustering, arrogant cop is gone, replaced by a terrified, stammering man-child who has just realized he has wandered into a lion's den. The general stops a few feet in front of Miller. He does not raise his voice. He does not need to. His presence alone is a crushing weight. "Officer," the general says, his voice a quiet baritone that cuts through the noise of the sirens and the helicopters. "You will state your name and badge number for the record." Miller fumbles for words. "Ida Miller. Officer Mike Miller. Badge 3 Adam 14-inch. The general nods slowly. "Officer Miller. I am General James Harding, United States Army. And you are currently detaining one of my most decorated field commanders." Harding turns his head slightly and looks at the Chevelle. "Colonel Marcus Thorne," he says, his voice now filled with a deep, respectful warmth. "Are you and your family unharmed?" Marcus finally opens his car door and steps out. He stands tall, his posture shifting, the civilian sloughing away to reveal the soldier beneath. "We are shaken, General, but we are unharmed," Marcus replies, his voice ringing with a clarity and authority that makes Miller flinch. "Colonel," Miller whispers, the word catching in his throat. The world is tilting on its axis, spinning out of his control. General Harding turns his icy gaze back to Miller. "Colonel Thorne is not just a soldier, officer. He is a living legend. A man to whom this nation owes a debt it can never fully repay. The medal you so casually dismissed as a fake was placed around his neck by the President of the United States. It was awarded for an act of valor so profound, you lack the capacity to even comprehend it." The general takes a step closer. He was leading a special operations team deep in enemy territory. They were ambushed, outnumbered 10-1. His vehicle was hit by an RPG. Wounded, bleeding, and under heavy fire, he single-handedly held off the enemy advance while dragging his wounded men to cover. He saved the lives of every single man in his unit that day. He took 3 bullets for his country. And you dare to stand here on this roadside and accuse him of stolen valor? Miller is trembling now, a visible tremor running through his entire body. I didn't know," he stammers. "His registration. It just says Marcus Thorne, it doesn't say Colonel." "That's the point, officer," Marcus says, speaking for the first time since getting out of the car. He walks around the Chevelle to stand beside the general. "When I am with my family, I am just Marcus Thorne. I am a husband and a father. I do not wear my rank on my sleeve. I do not ask for special treatment. I ask only to be treated with the same basic dignity and respect afforded to any other citizen." He looks directly at Miller, his eyes holding the officer's gaze. "A dignity you denied me from the moment you saw the color of my skin." Miller opens his mouth to protest, to deny it, but no words come out. He knows it is the truth. The body camera on his own chest has recorded every word, every sneer, every hateful insinuation. It is a perfect, unalterable record of his own downfall. General Harding gestures to one of his men, a stern-faced major. "Major, secure the officer's body camera footage. And get Police Chief Barnett on the phone. Tell him he has 10 minutes to get to this location, or I will be making my next call to the governor and the Department of Justice." "Yes, sir," the major says, snapping a crisp salute before striding over to Miller's stunned partner. Davis, the partner, seems to come to his senses. He sees the direction the wind is blowing and makes a swift calculation. He immediately begins to distance himself from his partner. "Sir, I want it on record," Davis says to the major, his voice shaking. "I told him to be professional. I told him to just check the license and let him go. I didn't agree with his conduct." Miller stares at his partner, his face a mask of betrayal. The rats are already fleeing the sinking ship. Within 8 minutes, a new set of sirens screams in the distance. A single black sedan, driving at a reckless speed, careens onto the shoulder. A portly man in a rumpled suit stumbles out before the car has even come to a complete stop. It is Police Chief Barnett, his face slick with sweat, his eyes wide with pure, unadulterated panic. He sees the helicopters, the military personnel, the 4-star general, and he looks like he is about to have a heart attack. He scurries over to General Harding, his hands held up in a placating gesture. "General Harding! Chief Barnett! Bridgewater PD! There has been a terrible, terrible misunderstanding. I cannot apologize enough for my officer's behavior." General Harding does not even look at him. He is looking at Sarah and Maya, who have now gotten out of the car. One of the female soldiers is speaking to them gently, offering Maya a bottle of water. "Chief Barnett," the general says, his voice dangerously low. "Your officer did not misunderstand. He understood perfectly. He saw a man he believed to be beneath him, and he chose to abuse his power, to terrorize a family, and to disgrace his badge." He finally turns to face the chief. "This is not a misunderstanding. This is a cancer. And I am here to see that it is cut out." Barnett looks at Miller with pure hatred. "Miller! You're suspended. Effective immediately. Hand over your weapon and your badge. Now!" Miller stands frozen, his world utterly destroyed. The major steps forward and cleanly strips the sidearm from Miller's holster. Another soldier steps up to his chest. There is the sound of Velcro tearing as the soldier rips the badge from Miller's uniform. The silver shield, once the source of his power and arrogance, is now just a piece of metal in another man's hand. Miller is no longer a police officer. He is just a man in a blue costume, standing humiliated on the side of a highway, surrounded by the wreckage of his life. Marcus walks over to his daughter. He kneels down so he is at her eye level. "Hey, sweetie. You okay?" Maya nods, still clutching Captain Cuddles. She looks at the soldiers, then at her father. "Are they your friends, Daddy?" she asks in a small voice. Marcus smiles, a genuine, warm smile that reaches his eyes. "Yes, baby girl. They're all my friends. They're family." He then stands and walks over to the now unarmed Miller, who is being placed in the back of his own partner's cruiser. Marcus leans down to the open window. Miller refuses to look at him. He just stares at the floor, his face a crumpled mask of shame and fury. "You wanted to teach me a lesson about respect, officer," Marcus says, his voice quiet, for Miller's ears alone. "But you're the one who is about to learn. You will learn that the uniform doesn't make the man. The character does. You will learn that true strength is not in how you treat the powerful, but in how you treat the vulnerable." He pauses, letting the words sink in. "You saw a black man in a classic car and you assumed the worst. Your prejudice was a loaded gun, and you couldn't wait to pull the trigger. You didn't see a father. You didn't see a husband. You didn't see a soldier." He leans in closer. "You just saw a target. And you missed." With that, Marcus turns and walks away, back to his family, leaving Miller to stew in the toxic juices of his own hatred. The fallout is swift and brutal. It is not a storm. It is a nuclear detonation. The incident on Highway 17 becomes a national news story within hours. The footage from Miller's own body camera is leaked to the press, and it goes viral. The nation watches in horror as a decorated war hero and his family are terrorized by an officer drunk on his own bigotry. Mike Miller is fired the next morning. That is just the beginning of his ordeal. The Department of Justice, prompted by a single phone call from General Harding to the Attorney General, opens a full-scale civil rights investigation into not just Miller, but the entire Bridgewater Police Department. Miller is indicted by a federal grand jury. The charges are extensive: deprivation of rights under color of law, official misconduct, intimidation. His partner, Officer Davis, testifies against him in exchange for immunity, painting a damning portrait of a man who saw his badge as a license to bully and harass. The police union, seeing the toxic nature of the case and the overwhelming public sentiment, quietly withdraws its support, leaving Miller to fend for himself. He is convicted on all counts. The judge, a veteran himself, delivers a blistering sentencing statement. He speaks of the sanctity of the uniform, both military and police, and how Miller has disgraced them both. He sentences Mike Miller to 10 years in a federal penitentiary with no possibility of parole. The last the world sees of Mike Miller is a photograph of him being led from the courthouse in an orange jumpsuit, his face pale and sunken, the arrogant sneer replaced by the hollow-eyed look of utter despair. His fall is total and absolute. The Bridgewater Police Department is gutted. Chief Barnett is forced to resign in disgrace. The DOJ investigation uncovers a deep-seated pattern of racial bias and misconduct, leading to a federal consent decree that puts the department under strict oversight for the next decade. Dozens of old cases handled by Miller are reopened, leading to several wrongful convictions being overturned. The entire corrupt structure he was a part of comes crumbling down. For Marcus and his family, the aftermath is a whirlwind. They are flooded with letters and emails of support from all over the country. Veterans groups champion Marcus as a symbol of quiet dignity and strength. The city of Bridgewater issues a formal, public apology and offers the Thorne family a substantial financial settlement. Marcus accepts the apology but refuses the money for himself. Instead, he works with General Harding to use the settlement funds to establish a new charitable foundation, the Thorne Initiative. Its mission is twofold: to provide legal support for veterans who have been victimized by systemic injustice, and to fund scholarships for underprivileged youth who want to pursue careers in law enforcement, hoping to build a better, more compassionate generation of police officers. Marcus does not want revenge. He wants change. 2 years later. The air in the university auditorium is buzzing with excitement and hope. It is the inaugural award ceremony for the Thorne Initiative. The first round of scholarships is being awarded to a diverse group of bright, idealistic young cadets. The first veteran helped by the foundation, an elderly man wrongly evicted from his home, sits in the front row with his family, tears of gratitude streaming down his face. Marcus Thorne stands at the podium. He is not in uniform. He is wearing a simple, well-tailored suit. He looks out at the crowd, at the faces of the young cadets, at the veterans, at his wife and daughter sitting in the front row. Maya is 9 years old now. She is no longer the frightened little girl in the back of the car. She is confident and smiling, her hand held by her mother, Captain Cuddles replaced by a program for the event. The keynote speaker for the evening has just finished his remarks. It was General James Harding, now retired, who serves as the chairman of the board for the initiative. He spoke of honor, integrity, and the sacred trust between those who serve and the society they protect. Now, it is Marcus's turn to speak. Good evening, he begins, his voice calm and steady, filling the large hall. 2 years ago, my family and I were on the side of a highway, and our lives were changed forever. We were confronted by a man who had forgotten the most important rule of power, that it is meant to protect, not to punish. It is meant to lift up, not to beat down. He pauses, his eyes finding Miller's spectral image in his memory. That man saw my car, he saw my skin, and he saw my license plate, and the only story his mind could construct was one of deceit. He could not imagine a world where a man who looked like me could have earned the honor I was given. His prejudice was a prison, and in the end, he became its only inmate. What happened that day was not about a traffic stop. It was about a mindset. It was about the corrosive arrogance that convinces some people that they're the arbiters of who belongs, who is worthy, and who is not. He looks directly at the young cadets. You are about to wear a badge. You are about to be given immense power. Please, I implore you, remember this, that badge is not a crown. It is a responsibility. It is a shield to stand behind the innocent, not a hammer to crush the powerless. When you look at a person, see their humanity first. Not their car, not their clothes, not the color of their skin. See the person. He smiles, a genuine warmth spreading across his face. The world doesn't need more warriors like Officer Miller. It needs more guardians. It needs more peacemakers. It needs more people willing to build bridges, not walls. The honor I was awarded was for a single day of my life. But the honor I seek now, the honor we should all seek, is the kind earned over a lifetime. It is the honor of being a good husband, a good father, a good neighbor, a good citizen. It is the quiet, steady honor of a life lived with integrity and compassion. Thank you, he concludes. And congratulations to our first scholarship recipients. Go out there and make us proud. The auditorium erupts in a standing ovation. The applause is thunderous, a wave of respect and admiration. Marcus steps away from the podium and walks to his family. He hugs Sarah, then kneels down to hug Maya. You were great, Daddy, she whispers in his ear. I have to be, he whispers back. I have you watching me. As he stands, he catches the eye of General Harding, who gives him a slow, approving nod. Outside, the sun is setting, painting the sky in shades of orange and violet. Marcus takes his wife's hand in one of his, and his daughter's in the other. Together, the three of them walk out of the auditorium and into the golden hour, a family whole and unbroken, their path illuminated not by the harsh glare of flashing police lights, but by the soft, promising glow of a brand new day. The Chevelle is parked outside, gleaming under the evening sky, a silent testament to a journey that began in darkness but found its way, finally, into the light.